To talk more about this papal consistory happening right before the start of the upcoming Synod on Synodality, I'm joined by my colleague Jonathan Liedl, senior editor for the National Catholic Register. Jonathan, great to have you here. How's Rome?
It's great, Montse. Great to be with you.
Great. Who are the most emblematic of Pope Francis's choices, the top three?
Well, Montse, I think three is an important number because I think if we look at Pope Francis's consistories throughout his 10 years as Pope, we've seen three different criteria that the Pope has used to select his cardinals. So one of them, of course, we've just heard about, is going to the peripheries, the geographic peripheries. Stephen Amayu Martin Mula was mentioned as the first cardinal from South Sudan. But I want to highlight in this category also the Latin Patriarch of Jerusalem, Pier Battista Pizzaballa. So this is the leader of the Catholic community in Jerusalem, in the Holy Land, at a time of increased violence and oppression and even marginalization of Christians living in the state of Israel. So Patriarch Pizzaballa has been a kind of strong voice for Christians in the Holy Land. So Pope Francis seems to be going to these people on the peripheries, Christians who are a minority in their country and facing oppression. So clearly a sign of support for them. Another criteria that the Pope likes to use, I think, when he picks his cardinals, are people who he's met in person and been impressed with. They've collaborated with him. They've worked with him. So one person that comes to mind here, a new cardinal, is Cardinal Americo Aguiar, a Portuguese prelate who was actually in charge of World Youth Day Lisbon. And in that capacity, he met with the Pope to discuss the vision for that event. And World Youth Day Lisbon was really, in many ways, Pope Francis's magisterium put into action. So his document on human fraternity, Fratelli Tutti, was a key cornerstone. So was Laudato Si on the environment. So it seems that the Pope was impressed with Cardinal Aguiar's work at World Youth Day and has given him the red hat. And at only 49 years old, it might be a sign of bigger things to come for the Portuguese cardinal. And then finally, the Pope loves to pick cardinals who represent his theological vision. And I think you can have no more emphatic of a statement in that regard than Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez, fellow Argentinian, a long history of friendship and collaboration with Pope Francis, his theological advisor, his ghostwriter on some of his most important papal documents. The Pope made now Cardinal Fernandez the head of the Dicastery of the Doctrine of the Faith, very important office in Rome, where he's been charged with really applying Pope Francis's magisterium. So those are three names that I think show the three different criteria that the Pope sometimes uses when picking his cardinals.
It seems that these appointments are keeping with his promise to represent the marginalized as well. Well, let's look at what Pope Francis is doing to outpace other popes in recent history. He's called 9 consistories in 10 years. Has any other pope called this many in so few years?
No, Montse, this has really become a hallmark of Pope Francis, the number of consistories, the number created, and of course, this consistory on September 30th, 21 cardinals created, which is the most during his pontificate. So the size of the College of Cardinals, of course, has swelled to 136, which is beyond the normal precedent. And it's also at the same time, though, that the Pope has expanded the size of the College of Cardinals and it has expanded the geographic diversity. It's very interesting to note that there have only been 2 instances of the College of Cardinals meeting before these 9 consistories. And these pre-consistory meetings are often times where the College of Cardinals, coming from different parts of the world, they can get to know each other. They can talk about issues in the life of the church. So you have this interesting dynamic where more cardinals than ever before from all parts of the world, but less opportunities perhaps to know each other, which in the event of a future conclave could definitely have an impact.
That's definitely necessary. Well, the Cardinal-elect from Hong Kong, Cardinal Stephen Chow, said something after a press event yesterday that is either politically correct or worrisome, or a take on Pope Francis's desire for us to be good Christian witnesses rather than rely on proselytism. He said, this is the Cardinal, evangelization in China today should focus on communicating the love of God without the agenda of turning them into Catholics. What do you make of these comments?
Yeah, well, I think a lot probably hinges on the meaning of the word agenda and turning them into Catholics. I think in some sense it does echo a longstanding theme of Pope Francis's, which you mentioned, which is that we need to evangelize, not proselytize. Evangelization attracts, evangelization proposes, where proselytization imposes. And it could be that Cardinal Chao is simply saying, the goal isn't to just force someone to become Catholic, but really by the beauty of your life to attract them, right? The holiness of the saints and the holiness that hopefully we're living in our lives. But certainly in the backdrop of a comment like that is the situation for religious liberty in China, which of course is very difficult. And it can be very difficult to express and live the Catholic faith fully there as well. So it might be one of those comments, Montse, where you can kind of read it how you want to read it. And maybe Cardinal Chao said it that way precisely for that reason.
Yeah, something on purpose. Well, now I can't let you leave without asking you about the Synod, which starts on Wednesday, October 4th, and the retreat the bishops are all attending before it opens. What can you tell us about the events of the coming days?
That's right. The Synod, a prayer vigil, an ecumenical prayer vigil in St. Peter's Square on the evening of 30th, and then a spiritual retreat for the 450 or so participants led by the British Dominican priest Timothy Radcliffe and the Italian nun Maria Ignazia Angelini. So beginning in prayer, but then getting right into it on October 4th, a mass celebrated by the Pope and public statements by key synodal figures such as Cardinal Mario Grech and the General Relator Cardinal Jean-Claude Hollerich. But that's kind of the public beginning, and then we dive into about 4 weeks of behind closed doors discussion and synodal proceedings. So a lot going on here in the Vatican.
Well, we'll be looking to you and the team there to keep us up to date. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you, Montse.